Towards the end of my day driving Uber, I picked up two passengers way north of the city. They were tourists from out of town, and they were super excited to get down into the major metro and touch the beat. Now, one of these passengers in particular was far more excited, albeit a bit confused, scatterbrained, and even slightly terrified, because earlier today she had an interview with a company she's super high on working for. However, it went really well, and that surprised her. It shocked her, and now she's in a state of conflicted emotions, because on one hand, she really loves the opportunity. She loves what the job description entails. She loves the city. She loves the environment that she would be living in. She likes the people that she would potentially work with. But on the other hand, it would mean leaving her hometown. It would mean committing to one city, to one state, to one opportunity, when, in her words, there are so many places I could work. There are so many opportunities I could pursue. Because this is the truth about the 21st century. There are so many opportunities you and I can pursue. And it's very difficult to hone in on one. I can speak on this in particular because it's one of, if not the biggest thing that has plagued me throughout my life. I have so many interests. Anything can fascinate my mind if it hits me at the right time. I am open to basically everything and anything. I can get into comic books, I can get into video games, I can get into mythology, I can get into astrology, I can get into cosmology. It doesn't matter. If somebody is discussing it with passion, if I can draw that out of them through a conversation, through inquisitiveness and curiosity and genuine attention, I'm going to find myself falling in love with it. Now, I'm probably not going to pursue it because, again, you have to pick and choose. But I'm gonna find that I appreciate it, that I can respect the hustle, that I can understand why somebody would like it. And for me, since I have so many different interests, I've been making music for over a decade. I've been playing basketball for 15 years. I've been playing chess for over 2. I've been studying history, politics, war, geopolitics, strategy, philosophy, psychology, a little bit of physics in there, economics. I've been studying all these various topics. I've been doing all these various things, boxing, lifting, that it becomes difficult to juggle them all. And in truth, at some point, life is going to force you to pick. Life is going to force you to make a once and for all decision, or at least a decision that's very committal for a certain period of time. She was alluding to having to take this job and stay there for 2 years. If she were to get it and decide on it being the path she wanted to take, she would have to commit for 2 years. And even though 2 years isn't that much time, it's still a decent chunk of your life. 700 days, it's no small time. Yeah, it's gonna go by quickly, but there's a lot you could do in 700 days, the type of person you could become in 700 days, the amount you could learn, the amount you could explore, the amount you could conquer. In 700 days, it's a lot. So to commit to that, it's a big decision. And as we were driving downtown, she started looking at the lights and the tall buildings. And she looked at the sailboat on the lake, the sole sailboat on the lake, because it is October. And she said, wow, this city's so great too. It's not the first time she'd been here, but it gained a newfound appreciation for her today with all of these emotions flooding through her head, through her body. She said to herself, why can't I just interview here? Why can't I find a job here? And I said, you could. And she said, well, is that why you came here? And I said, no, I came here for adventure. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I came here because I visited here twice. The first time, I was basically dead set on it. The second time, it only confirmed that this was the right place to be. And once I moved here, I found that I got all the adventure I wanted. I love this city. I love every aspect of it. It's my hometown, quote unquote, on steroids. And then she asked me further. She said, well, isn't there adventure in Pittsburgh to play devil's advocate, my hometown? And I said, of course there is. But there's adventure everywhere. You can make an adventure wherever you want to make an adventure, wherever you're most inclined to make an adventure. Keyword most inclined, not just inclined, because like I alluded to earlier, I am inclined to do a lot of things. I can sit at my computer all day and play chess. It doesn't matter if I win all my games, lose all my games, draw them all, or somewhere in between. I can play chess all day. I could write music all day. I can play basketball all day. Maybe not all day. My hips might get tight. My legs might get sore. But you understand the point. I could do so many things for so long because they grip my attention. They allow me to immerse myself in experience. And truly, this is what we're all looking for. We're looking for immersion. We're looking to participate in activities, in causes, to join groups and communities, to be a part of things that allow ourselves, to lose our ego, to lose our identity, to just become a spirit amongst a crowd, a spirit amongst a movement, a spirit amongst ideas, amongst an activity, a ball dribbling on the court, boxing, glove, hitting the bag, whatever it may be. This is what we're looking for. And since I have so many different interests, it's very tough to decide which one to pursue with all of my might. Now, of course, life asks you and I to do this very early, like I also alluded to. Whenever we're 18 years old, we have to decide what we want to study. Who do we want to be? Do we want to be engineers? Do we want to be architects? Do we want to be doctors? Do we want to be nurses, lawyers, pediatricians, optometrists? A bunch of doctors there. But we have to decide. We have to decide then and there. There is no room for us to explore, to adventure. I always hated this. I dropped out of college after my first year. I went back later on, but I only stayed for 3 months before the COVID pandemic. And then I decided, well, this looks like a sign. I might as well just go with my gut. I didn't really want to be here anyway. Might as well just go with it. Because I hated the idea that I had to commit, that I had to stick to one field of study. I've always hated the idea that I'm going to die before I get to experience all the things that I want to experience, before I become all that I want to become, before I feel all that I want to feel. This is what I want out of my life. At least one of the things that I want out of my life, to experience, to feel, and to do as much as I possibly can, because there's so much richness in it. Like I said, you can live an adventure wherever you want. It's just you have to decide where you want to live that adventure, and that's where discernment comes in. That's where having a keen eye and a well-tuned sensitivity allows you to make great decisions, or at least better decisions than you would if you didn't have a keen eye or a well-tuned sensitivity. A keen eye for what you want, not what the culture what you want, what the culture has trained you to want, and a well-tuned sensitivity to what you want, not what the culture wants you to want, not what the culture wants you to become. And this is the key thing that liberalism in particular missed out on. It's the thing that they didn't see. It's that, yes, if you give people free rein to make free choices, they will become all that they become. I truly know that to be the case. But in order for them to make free choices, in order for them to act freely, they have to rid themselves of the culture. They have to rid themselves of the propaganda. They have to separate themselves from what society wants them to do, from what even history wants them to do. They have to separate from all of it, and then they can make decisions. Then they can make choices. And that's something that's incredibly difficult to do. It's an ongoing process. It's a battle you have to wage every single day, because the propaganda is always coming, especially in the 21st century. Every last ding, every last notification, it tries to grab your attention, and so often it does. It rips you away for a microsecond, and then that microsecond becomes a full second, and then the second becomes a couple of seconds, and then a minute, and then a couple of minutes, and then before you know it, it's 30, 40, 50, 60 hours that you've been scrolling. And if it's not hours, it's these little tiny microseconds that have diverted you from silence, diverted you from inner questioning, diverted you from simply being void of voices, or void of questioning, void of emotions, just being a blank slate. It's so often how I feel. I don't feel numb. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel overly happy or excited or joyful even. I simply feel like a blank slate, ready to receive. I don't even classify it as a joy anymore. I suppose I would classify it as joy because it's the highest emotion I know outside of love, but I would say that I'm mostly in a state of receptiveness, simply being open to receiving. I wouldn't even classify it as a state. And this is where you need to be in order to make these decisions. Now, I can't teach you how to do that, because I'm teaching myself how to do it. And anyone who's intellectually honest, emotionally honest, is going to tell you the same thing. There is no step-by-step guide to figuring out what you want out of life. There isn't. Nobody can do it. Anybody who does is selling you something that they cannot actually get behind, outside of them convincing you that it's righteous and that it's the best because their pocketbook demands it, because their ego demands it, because their status demands it. Now, I'm not going to say I'm above making money. I'm not above making money, but I could only sell something if I had the clear disclaimer that it is not a fix-all. It is not a silver bullet. It cannot do that for you. It can be a guidepost. It can be something to lead you. It can be another perspective, a fresh insight, a collection of fresh insights. That's what a book is. That's what a course is. That's what a lecture is. It's not the key to everything. It's just another piece. And that's why I really enjoyed this conversation with this girl today, because I had never heard somebody express what I felt for my whole life so clearly, so aptly, and in such an emotional state, something that as a man, I suppose, I don't do as much, though when I do, it's very deep. She was able to express it so well, and I really just couldn't help myself but smile, because I hadn't heard that from a girl in a long time. It was very, very refreshing. And I pray that she's going to make the proper decision, because that's what I pray for everybody. I pray that everybody has the sensitivity, develops it, that everybody develops that keen eye for what they want. Not what the culture wants them to want, not what society wants them to want, not what their parents want them to want, but what they want. And that they go out and get that they go out and do that. It's a messy process. You're gonna have to make some commitments. But as long as you have strategies in place to limit how committal it is, to have ways to get out, to have the ability to maneuver, the ability to pivot, pursue multiple interests at once, even when you commit, all of these things that have helped my life immensely. Having cash, the economics of it all, the mental of it all, the emotional of it all. There's so many aspects that go into it. So long as you do that and you work on it daily, because it is a daily process. You cannot take a day off on this. Consciousness requires you to be conscious. Being unconscious at all is you giving up territory to the enemy. Now, you can do it strategically, but you're probably not, just like most people probably aren't. And if you really want to be on this path, it's going to take everything from you. But the best part is you give everything, you get everything back twice over, 3 times over, 4 times over, just like Job. He saw it all ripped away from him, and then God blessed him doubly, triply. He got it all back plus interest. And the interest was hefty. Hefty. Like the trash bags up in my apartment. Speaking of, I need to get up there because it is late. In any case, let me know what you think about this. Let me know if this resonated with you. If you could do your life over again, what would you do? Now, consider that perhaps you could do it anyways, right now, in this life. With that, I also ask you, drop in the comments what you've always wanted to pursue but haven't pursued. And give the reason if you'd like. Let us say God bless. Have a great night. This is the New Da Vinci.